Hi, it's Kazuyoshi. I've been working on this gold vision for at least 10 years, and of course, including the preparation, it has been the work of 30 years. And I think it's getting close to the complete, which means that the complete set of the packages that everybody can use to grow and to be successful. And of course, I had everything in my mind, but writing down or really structuring took a little time. So I started with the goal setting, which is the biggest thing. And behind that, maybe you have a purpose or what you want to be like. So, but those kind of bigger things, it will need to be broken down into the details. And in the process, I talked about the habits, which are quite important. And so you have a goal and then you have a habit and you will take an action. The the habit will help you keep taking the actions, and then you will be able to progress towards what you want to be or achieve. And of course, is another important thing that you will need to, in a simple word, seek for somebody's help. But in order for you to be a person that will be helped by other people, you will need to be a good person that people wants to help you. So you will need to be a mature person so that other people want to help you. But eventually you will need to work together with people or at least be helped with some people because you can't do things alone. And if you do things, limit the things to yourself, the things that you will achieve will not be big. So you will always need to be helped. But at the same time, in order for you to be helped, you will need to support other people. Contribution, you can contribute other people, and then people will help you. Not like return, like a give and take. It's just like if you are keep contributing to the people. It could be a society, it could be the family, it could be your friend, it could be your employees or everybody. But still, if you're a person like that, something will come back to you eventually, and you will be helped, supported, and then you will be able to go up. So that is another thing that is quite important. And I need to add something that will make this a complete set, in which I've never, maybe never, that much didn't talk a lot about this. It's about measuring things. And measuring things means that you'll need to understand what you will need to measure to improve your performance of your company, of yourself. Like a person who every morning stands on the measure will be able to maintain their weight relatively. If you don't do that, you stand on the scale and you stand on the scale and you happen to learn that you grew 10 pounds compared to a month ago, that's too late or that's going to be very hard. So every day, hopefully, you stand on the scale, you measure it. I don't know if you work on hardly, but still you need to stand on that. So that's one simple example that everybody will be easy to understand. But like a corporation will have a quarterly or a monthly, and every time they'll be measured, required by law, required by stakeholders, but eventually that is for the CEO or the employees or the people who are working. They need to be measured, monitored so that they can see the progress. Otherwise, you will easily lose money if you're running a company and you happen to know that your business is no longer there. So measurement is always important. It's easy because if you're running a company, the government will require or a tax authority will come to you and talk about what you need to measure. A tax accountant or accountant, they will talk to you, educate you what you need to measure. And you follow that. So if you have a good solid product, and then you'll be able to survive. But this is about your life for yourself. You have to, this is a difficult part, very difficult. You have to define what to measure, what to track. Compared to the company thing, so that there are things that need to be measured and that need to report it so that you can just follow the track and then you'll be able to report that. But for your personal life, you will need to define what you're going to measure. And another thing, number two, is another difficult thing, and you will need to measure it. Right? And the reason I'm talking about that is if you don't do that, you will lose focus on what is important. So this gives the fact and the before preparation that you need to figure out what you will need to measure, but on what criteria. Of course, the things that you will need to measure is it will definitely need to be the things that will lead you to your goal. The goal, habit, and measurement are the center line, what you really need to do that. And every time you need to figure out what your goal is, every time you need to figure out what the habits are, and every time you need to figure out what you will need to measure, and each of them are not easy. But you see this straight kind of center line, if you're playing soccer or football or whatever, just if you have a strong center line for midfielder and defense, then you'll have a strong team. So always start with a goal and habits. You need to think about what are needed, what you really want to achieve, and then you need to find out what you need to use this to be a game changer, key performance indicator, KPI. So what is the KPI for you? It doesn't have to be only one, but it can't be 10. It could be several that you want to monitor for yourself to make your life or maybe life extraordinary. And I think it's worth to think about that. And even if you measure that, it's going to be a hard thing to really measure it or count it. Measure means in another word, it's a count. Count, if you can count it, that's nice. Just one tip is from myself. I myself believe that the life will be better by two things. Going back to the human nature, one thing is that meeting and knowing other people, understanding other people. And number two is feeding the nature of this earth. So of course we are doing a lot of stuff. We are working hard to make our life better, maybe earn a lot of money, build something that is sustainable. But still we are a creature of this world, and we have to go back to the nature and also go back to the human. So my KPI, honestly, I have not matured enough to count it yet, but I'm really thinking that I'm trying to count or whatever. I'm trying to figure out the way I evaluate, but the number of scales that I'm exposed to the nature. And that's number one. And the other thing is that the number of people I've met for the first time. And hopefully there are people that will give me that I can learn from. So I try to count the number of people who I met, whom I can learn from. I may have a goal, target for that, every month two people, for example. But given the busy life, meeting two people every month is not an easy goal. So those kind of things. So even if it sounds like not countable, there are ways to count, measure, And the reason I selected this is that because I think we can learn, think, and change our life only by other people. All right, that's the whole thing. So I have a complete set of goal vision, and I want to really start teaching this, sharing this to the whole world. I have to figure out how to do that, but I'm gonna do this in coming, hopefully, months. Start doing that. So look forward to meeting you again. Bye bye.